12:01, so we can go ahead and get started today. Thank you all for joining today's Apprenticeship Illinois Lunch and Learn webinar series. We're glad that you decided to join us today. Just before we get started, I do have some housekeeping notes. So today we're hearing from LWIA 25 and promising practices in their area. First, note that this will be recorded and posted on the Apprenticeship Illinois website later this week. Also, just again, as kind of like a reminder or overview of what these sessions are geared towards. So the regional apprenticeship specialists. So DCO has a priority to have these apprenticeship specialists create new apprenticeship programs, completing all the paperwork on behalf of the program sponsors to create a simplified and streamlined process for employers. That's really the main goal and what we're learning in best practices about from all of these presentations throughout this series. So that includes in-person and virtual apprenticeship outreach through events and employer consultations in the area, pursuing referrals received through the website, connecting employers to other partners in the region, and then collaborating with integrated business services teams for collective impact. As you know, we all have our resources in one area, but there are some agencies who are able to better serve certain needs. With that, I will hand it off to today's presenters, Abby and Emily.
All right, appreciate that, Jordan. All right, so we will kick it off. I'm happy to see some representation in Southern Illinois today. So my name's Emily Perks. We're from LWIA 25, which is the southernmost 5 counties in Southern Illinois. We also cover LWIA 26.
And I am Abby Russell. I am the Employer Services Coordinator here with Mantricon, and I have been with Mantricon for a little over a year now.
And Abby and I are the two people that are on the business services team. I've been with Mantricon for 5 years. I also manage the special grants that we have here. So that could be supplemental. We've had a JTAG grant and also a Quest grant. We are considered an apprenticeship sponsor, an apprenticeship intermediary, and I guess apprenticeship specialist. So we've kind of had our hands in all the pots over the last several years. We are a 501c3 community-based organization, and our mission is to provide businesses with a qualified workforce and help job seekers reach their career or employment goals. The majority of our funding comes from WIOA funding. However, like I mentioned, we do operate off of some other special grants as well. Next slide. Perfect. So to get us started, some programs that we currently either are working on in development or programs in progress would be the newest ones that we've either developed or expanded with Pepsi, which is a CDL apprenticeship. We work with Liberty Village on an LPN apprenticeship and hope to expand that to a pre-apprenticeship soon. And then D&D Electric, we work with them on expanding their electrician apprenticeship most recently. Current programs that are either in discussion or in the works. Most of these are with our local community college partnerships, Deaconess Hospital, which is a very large medical group here in Southern Illinois, and John A. Logan College. We're working on an RN apprenticeship. Also with John A. Logan College and Southern Illinois Healthcare, we're working on a surgical tech apprenticeship. And then a pre-apprenticeship with Liberty Village for the LPN, like I mentioned. And then kind of our newest discussion is with Wren Lake College and Magnan Still on a welding apprenticeship. To date so far, we've had 38 apprentices. Some of those are including medical assistants, dental assistants, CDL drivers, industrial truck mechanic, which is diesel mechanic. And then we also have crucial MRO, which is our power plant mechanics. And we actually just had 6 of those complete the apprenticeship. And then we've had Shawnee Communications. And then to date, we've had 35 apprentices complete the programs. Next slide. Some of our current collaborations and partnerships, of course, our integrated business services team. We meet with them on a bi-monthly basis. That includes our college partners, chambers, SI Now organization, which is a workforce development organization down here, DCEO, IDHS, and IDES are on our integrated business services team. A couple other organizations that we partner with in different collaborations is the Jefferson County Development Corporation. So we work with them on a local manufacturing day here with the local high schools, employer partners, unions. Over the past year has been a big partnership of ours. And then the Regional Office of Education, we've hosted career days and tours that we've been able to sponsor through different supplemental and apprenticeship programs. And then IMA and IMEC also partnerships in our business services teams.
So for some of the ways that we have used our apprenticeship funding or the WIOA funding is we do apply supportive services for our apprentices. So we've been able to purchase boots, tools like for our mechanics, they get full tool sets, their uniforms, anything that they are needing to help them start working. For D&D Electric, we were able to partner with them this past year as the solar farms require an apprenticeship and to be able to bid on those jobs. So we were able to help them with a curriculum reimbursement so they could create their apprenticeship program. We also do OJT or on the job training contracts for new apprentices. We have provided technical assistance just as far as talking with our employers through the apprenticeship programs. We handle all of the reporting and turning things into Rapids there. We also work with connecting employers and, with training providers and just seeing who is going to be best to be set at the table for each new apprenticeship. And I saw Dawn had sent a question about the WIOA eligible for supportive services. Some of them are WIOA funded, and then some of them we've been able to use our supplemental funding to purchase those supplies. And we can go ahead and move to the next slide, please. So some of our placements at the different employers that we work with, the city of Carbondale, we did an apprenticeship for a police officer. With Crucial R MRO, we did the aviation mechanic or the airplane and power plant mechanics there. Donaldson Concrete did a construction craft laborer. The Family Foot and Ankle had a medical assistant. Prismian has maintenance technicians. Liberty Village has an LPN apprenticeship. Pepsi Mid-America, we have worked with their diesel mechanic and CDL apprenticeships. Shawnee Health has community health workers, dental assistants, and medical assistants. SIH Medical Group currently has medical assistant apprenticeships. D&D Electric, again, they have their electrician apprenticeship. And 318 is a local operators union that we work with on providing some boots and things to their apprentices. Now, out of the employers that we work with, last year, Shawnee Health did get awarded a statewide business leadership award. So through their Grow Your Own programs, the assistance of the local partners, they have been able to successfully enhance and stabilize its workforce while also contributing to the economic viability of the local workforce, as well as expanded access to care for its community. So currently there are 18 completers and 10 active in the community health worker, dental assistant, and medical assistant positions. And they do regularly fill probably, I would say, between 2 and 4 apprentices each semester. And they handle, they have their own organization that they work with for training there. We can go on to the next slide. So another employer that I will bring up here is Pepsi Mid-America. So they have a corporate trainer that they do all of their CDL training through, and they each person or each time they are bringing someone onto the CDL training program, they will send an intake form over to us to see if they are WIOA eligible for us to be able to do an OJT before they hire them on. However, if they are not available for WIOA funding, we have been able to use our supplemental funding for some of those OJTs. And the CDL program is very robust. This morning, I even went and signed up 5 new apprentices for them. So this one's a really great program that we've been able to work with. And they have Pepsi and Crisp Container here in Marion, and they both are underneath the same umbrella. And we can go on. We mentioned that we have put a lot of effort into our unions this year. So I probably spent a whole day just calling and researching and what unions service Southern Illinois and reaching out to them to figure out what their apprenticeship program entailed as far as filling out applications to them and just establishing connections so we can invite them to our career fairs. And we actually hosted a union day for our local high schools. So we were able to have our sheet metal workers, plumbers and pipe fitters. We invited the laborers to come, the operators union, and we had about 50 high school students come in. They listened to about 10 to 20-minute presentations and videos from these unions just to learn about this type of work and how to get involved in this. And we can go ahead and go next. Perfect. So with D&D Electric, last year for National Apprenticeship Week, we held an apprenticeship signing day there. So the first image is us with DCEO and other partners such as SI Now handing over the governor's proclamation for apprenticeships. Currently, Kevin Robinson is our apprenticeship ambassador for the southern half of the state, and so he is coming through D&D Electric. And a lot of D&D, what they bring to the table is good quality jobs. And, as Demarion stated here, it's a great opportunity. If you stick with it, you'll get more job opportunities and you won't be so replaceable. Apprenticeships make you more valuable to your employer. And that has been the just resounding words or resounding phrase that comes from the apprentices at D&D Electric. They all feel that this has been really a great opportunity for them to be able to get involved in. And they also have a very robust apprenticeship, and they are working toward new ways to include things such as pre-apprenticeships in the future. Some of our high school tours, we have taken high school students on a couple different tours of Prismian, and that is in DuQuoin. Continental is located in Mount Vernon, Illinois. The middle picture is from Walgreens Distribution Center, which is also in Mount Vernon. And then we have Iacen, which is another manufacturer here in Marion, Illinois. And we have also done some tours with Pepsi and Crisp Container with local high school students as well. And the way we were able to sponsor these, we were able to create this local works shirt that you see the students wearing, and we had little swag bags that we gave the students. We talked to them about Mantricon, what we can do to help them out, our WIOA services, and then just, having them participate in these career exploration activities has led to some of these students actually being hired by the companies that they went on tours of. And then if you have any questions, we would love to connect with you guys. Feel free to reach out to me or Emily via email or submitting the questions in the chat, and we will be happy to answer any of those for you. And I see there are a couple questions there. Emily, do you want to take any of those?
Yeah, I did want to mention too that we've worked very closely with Bruce, our ATR, and he's fantastic, gets back with us in a timely manner, and that's been a good partnership over the last 5 to 7 years for us here at Mantricon.
And I see Deidre mention, what are some of our biggest challenges that we face in the region in expanding apprenticeships? I would say that when it comes down to our area, we have a lot of rural counties. So for apprenticeships, we have a total of 19 counties that we cover versus our 5 typical counties just for WIOA funding. So with some of those outer areas, it is a lot of rural area and not a whole lot of industry. So just, trying to find employers that have the ability to, potentially pay for the education or have that buy-in to create it has been one big struggle that I have noticed there.
And I think too, buy-in from our local community colleges. So we work with a couple in our area, and they're not always on the same page with apprenticeships. As I've noticed, maybe other LWIAs, having that partnership. It's us bringing the employer typically to the college for those introductions, or, hey, let's look at your courses. So I think that too has been for sure one of our challenges. Definitely over the past 5 years since I've been working in the program.
And then another question Deidre had here was, what advice can you give apprenticeship specialists to help them with employer engagement and expanding apprenticeships in their area? I truly feel, like I said, with unions, just I had some time on my day that I just spent cold calling these businesses to find out who I needed to speak to, getting their information, and just being able to tell them a little bit about what we can offer the unions, because it was a partnership that just previously did not exist. We also, as the employer services team, attend all of our local career fairs. So each time I show up at a career fair, I am going and networking, have my business cards, have our employer services flyers, apprenticeship flyers, and any businesses that I have not met with before, or maybe I haven't talked to recently, I'm going and giving them our information again and just making sure that we keep that in front of them.
And we offer a lot of business services here for our local employers, so not just apprenticeships. So we want them to see the value in apprenticeships. So in any meeting that we do have, whether it's, talking about incumbent worker training or on the job training or work experience, we do all those programs too, but apprenticeships always top of mind. And we always make sure we provide them information on apprenticeships and, show them value of those training programs when we meet with them.
And then I also see that Sarah had thrown in here, when did the union day take place? During the school day, evening, or weekend? How did students get selected, or was it open to all students? The way this was set up is we had a couple of schools reach out to us specifically that were interested. They said that they had students interested in unions and they didn't know where to send them. So we used our connections to establish a day. We have a large conference room here that we were able to house the students in. So we coordinated with the unions and the local high schools and chose, like, I think it was 9 to 11 was our time frame. It was during the school day. So there was, I think, about a month time frame that students had at the school to be able to sign up for these events. We were working with the CTE directors at these schools, or the counselors that we already have those relationships with. So they knew which students to kind of target, which ones were headed in that direction. And because unions have a requirement of, 18 or older, we tried to make sure that any of the students that came were of like 17, 18 years of age, or right there at senior year, getting ready to graduate. So we were getting the right students in front of the right audience.
And we were able to, we made this an apprenticeship event because that's what the unions were there to talk about. And then we were able to provide some funding for that with food and some marketing and swag with supplemental funding.
So thank you for that. Thank you for also the good questions. We got a lot of good ones. Oh, we got another one from Deidre coming in.
So are employers more open to apprenticeships than they were a few years ago? Emily, I'll let you take this as you've been in a little bit longer.
I would say so. Yeah, I think it's just finding a balance on what works for them, what program. Is it some type of certificate that their employees need? Is it a 2-week welding training? So I think it's just looking at all the options. Apprenticeships might not work best for some of the employers. And then there has to be, that employer buy-in. So a lot of times the employers need to be paying for those programs or paying for the certificates and the training. But I would say, yeah, we get more requests now, at least to discuss it, talk about it, and see what options are out there. Yes.
I do have a question. What would you say are maybe some of the biggest misinformed opinions that employers might have, or like assumptions that you have to kind of dispel in your initial talks with employers?
So I know that coming into, like, I have been recently looking into a specific apprenticeship where the employer maybe didn't want it to be a whole year, but trying to explain that there are competency based, there's time based, there are hybrid options, just going back to those work process schedules and looking and seeing what would be the best for them. And, looking at it a different way. The apprenticeship that they wanted to do, they were not quite on board for the buy-in. They didn't know if they would have the interest in it. So instead, we decided that at first we are going to open up a work experience program in the field, and it was actually in real estate. So they are going to get some shadowing experience there for 89 days. And if she feels that it is something that they are interested in through the work experience, she would then be interested in establishing that apprenticeship. So that way she knows that there is buy-in. I would say also a lot of employers that we've talked with have a lot of questions about if they have the ability to have a contract in place where if they are paying and investing in that employee, if the employee terminates before the apprenticeship is over, what kind of legal or monetary, I guess, connection that the employer still has. So just making sure that they are getting the best out of this and that it's working for both the employee and the employers. And
And
then go ahead.
Cindy, as of now, we haven't done anything with union dues, no reimbursing, no paying. We've mainly provided support services for the registered apprentices in regards to boots or clothing that might be needed.
Any other questions from anyone in attendance? Deidre? Let's see.
Change the greatest impact for expanding apprenticeships.
We appreciate the opportunity to apply for the grants and, get the funding to maybe kick off programs. I think that's value add to us. What about you, Abby?
I also feel the same. I had mentioned at the Illinois Workforce Summit to Jen Foyle about, just being able to look online and finding those apprenticeships that are already registered in the state. So then we can kind of go to our employer meetings and having those standards already with us. So that way, when the apprenticeship conversation comes up, we are already prepared with, well, this is what they need as far as RTI, or this is what they would need as far as the competencies and what they need to be handling. So being able to just have that information and come to those meetings prepared is, I think, going to be the greatest impact that we can have.
I think so far the biggest impact we've made too is being able to provide support services to maybe those programs that are already registered or new, and providing those items that are needed to start the apprenticeship or, keep the person in the program. So I think that's how we provided the biggest impact so far.
And with that in mind, I definitely will say, whenever you're going into some of these positions, and a tool bag can be anywhere from a couple $100s to a few $1,000s, depending on the type of position. And a lot of the times, employees have a really hard time being able to purchase that on their own coming into this. So it enables the employers to continuously recruit whenever we have that partnership in the back end of being able to supply that. So that way they can continue a robust program.
All right, it doesn't look like we have any other questions. Definitely want to thank Abby and Emily for taking time for your presentation and everyone who asked questions afterwards. Just as a reminder, this will be posted online in case you want to review the slides or share this with a colleague who wasn't able to make it today. And as always, thanks for showing up and have a great rest of your afternoon.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.